Good morning, Year 9s. Sorry I can't be in there with you today. I've decided to leave the chemical reactions section until next week. So for today, I'm going to give you some revision work, and then we're going to start looking at radioactivity this week. So I want to go to the PowerPoint that we looked at a couple of weeks ago. Where is that? There we go. About atoms. And we started looking at the different types of particles that make up atoms: protons, electrons, neutrons. We talked about the mass of those and their charge and where they're located. And the first question on your worksheet, revision worksheet that I've given you, looks like this. It asks you for the masses and the charges. It's on the PowerPoint. It should be in your book, so you can have a look at that. Also, what we looked at, let me go back over here, is on your periodic table, your element. We looked at the atomic number, which you might remember is the number of protons in the nucleus. Now, we also sometimes write it like this: atomic number 11, which is the number of protons, and then we would write the number up here, which we call the mass number. So atomic number is that one, which is the number of protons, and the mass number, which is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. And for a neutral atom, the number of electrons will be the same as the number of protons. So we had a look at that. And we did some calculations where if you are given the number of protons plus neutrons, and then you know the number of protons, you can work out the number of neutrons. Remember also that we talked about something called isotopes, which is when an element has the same number of protons, obviously, but otherwise it wouldn't be sodium. There it is there. It's got 11 protons, but it might have an extra neutron. So this is one isotope of sodium right here with 22 as a mass number, and this is another isotope over here with 23 as a mass number. So this first one has 11 protons, 11 neutrons, making up to 22. The second one also has 11 protons because it's sodium, and it has 23 as a mass number, so it must have 12 neutrons. So on the worksheet that I've left you, there it is again. Oh, it isn't. Sorry, let me try that again. There it is. I've given you, you've got the name. Let me get a pen and work on this. You've got the name here, it's a capital N, and you know from your periodic table, which you should all have a copy of, that this one is nitrogen. Now, there's some spare periodic tables on the bookshelf at the front of the room. There's a little stack there somewhere. It has 7 protons, I can tell by that number there. If it's neutral, it also has 7 electrons. And it has, let's see, the difference between 7 and 14 is the neutrons, and in this case it's 7. So I want you to do that for each of those elements. Write down the number of protons, which is the number down here. Whatever's left out of the big number, that's the number of neutrons. The number of electrons will be the same as protons. Scrolling down here, isotopes. Now remember the same element, so in this case it's hydrogen. It has 1 proton, always 1 proton, because otherwise it wouldn't be hydrogen, but it can have different numbers of neutrons. All right. And that's what makes it isotopes. Those are isotopes of hydrogen. And here are some isotopes of carbon. So you're going to write down sorry, I'm not going to write anything down here. That one's nice and easy. So this is just to show you that the 3 different isotopes of carbon have the same number of protons, but different numbers of neutrons. Okay. When you get down to the next bit, you're going to be asked to put in the details of the protons, electrons, and neutrons for 2 different isotopes of oxygen. There they are. There's oxygen 16 and oxygen 18. The difference is the number of neutrons. So I think you're okay to go and fill those out. Electrons, remember we learned about electron shells, and the electrons, the first shell can hold 2 electrons, the second shell out here can hold 8 electrons, and the third shell can hold 8 electrons. So you get your number of electrons and you put them into the shells. There's a explanation here. Hydrogen has only got 1 electron in the first shell. There it is there, that little X. Helium has got 2 electrons, so it fills the first shell, and so on. And you did these electron shell diagrams. You did a big heap of them. So 2 electrons in the first shell, up to 8 in the second shell, and that one has 10 electrons, so it must be neon. So you're going to draw some electron dot diagrams for these atoms. Atomic number of 5, what element is that? You're going to put the symbol in the middle. You're going to put 2 electrons in the first shell and the next 3 in the shell outside of that. You're going to do the same for those other atoms. And then there's another way to write the electron configuration. So for this one here, for neon, you've got 2 in the first shell, 8 in the second shell. You can write it like this. Now down here, I want you to write electron configurations for the diagrams that you drew up here for this one and for this one. I want you to write the electron configurations. Okay, moving on. Moving on, we've got this crossword with clues down the bottom that will tell you about the number of neutrons or the atomic number or something you can use to figure out which element it is and put it into the crossword. That should keep you busy as well. So if you get through all that, I will start talking about radioactivity. Hang there for a minute. Actually, that's probably enough to keep you busy, but I'm not going to restart the video. I'll do radioactivity in a separate video, which you could probably start tomorrow. Thank you to all the people who handed in their assignments. I've marked most of them. I've sent a couple back, and I'm just waiting till I finish before I send the rest of you all of your marks. Luca, I have your book at home with me, so you're going to have to write in something else for today. If you haven't handed in your assignment by today, you can hand it in to someone in the science office and then let me know that you've done it. Otherwise, I'll have to phone home and let your parents know that you haven't handed it in, but I think most of you have now, so that's really good. All right, have a lovely day, and I will be back with you tomorrow by video.